Welcome back to Africa Science Focus, our weekly science and development show from SciDevNet. I am Ogechi Kenyo. We're back for the second part of our investigation into the pollution of the Osun River in southwest Nigeria. Today we're focusing on the gold mining that takes place along the riverbank. According to the Nigerian Geological Survey Agency, gold mining in Nigeria dates back to 1913 and peaked between 1933 and 1943. But it was not until the early 1950s that gold mining began in Osun State, where the historical Osun River is located. Mining spiked with the coming of commercial mining companies and the immigration of miners from Zamfara State to Osun State and other parts of the southwest Nigeria. Professor Olugbenga Okunlola is the head of Department of Geology at the University of Ibadan, Nigeria, and the president of the Geological Society of Africa. He talks to our reporter, Babatunde Okunlola, about the gold deposits in Osun State, Nigeria.
It's a huge potential. Comparatively with a global trend, I think Osun State can be classified as a gold field or a gold province. Where we talk about province in economic geology or in exploration time, we talk about a vast area where there are potentials either in pockets or in clusters. And I think Osun State, especially around Ijesha land, Ife Ijesha land, up to the fringes of Ondo State, qualifies as a gold province by every standard. So the potential is huge. I think as at now, not less than about 50 locations within that area, that province area, like I said, has been known. That's with gold occurrences. There are varied potentials, varied amounts or resources in those areas, but at least in about 50 locations, gold can be found occurring and can be mined.
Zamfara was the hub for mining activities in Nigeria. Artisanal miners and large-scale miners coaxed the precious metal from the soil and unleashed the dark side, polluted rivers, forests, and lands. Stories of dying people and crops and communities struggling to breathe led to the Nigerian government suspending all mining activities in Zamfara in 2013. In 2019, the government completely banned mining activities because of the violence and the environmental degradation caused by mining. The ban led to the movement of most of these miners to Osun State, the Osun River bank precisely. One of these illegal miners has worked in the field for over 25 years. He spoke to us on the condition of anonymity and revealed some of the practices of the illegal miners to our reporter, Babatunde Okunlola.
The Chinese always prefer buying farms or lands that are close to the water so that they can have water to work with. If you take a Chinese miner to a land to be mined and there is no water, they are not happy because they can't watch the gold discovered. And if that happens, the products get wasted. That's why they always want an area with a vast expanse of water. We are talking about big rivers that are okay, that when you see the sizes, even you can't deny how big they are. Any river used for mining is never the same. It changes its color. Only fish that can survive there are catfish. Other fishes will die because it will change its color and look more like floodwaters. You see, if the water was previously clean, it will change its color. It's like using clean water to wash dirt. It will change the color, and the more they wash it, the flowing water will also be transported, affecting all waters in that area. They also made use of some chemicals when mining gold. The chemicals help in keeping the mine gold in a certain shape. When the gold is being refined, they use different chemicals. If it is to be in form of a circle, triangle, or any shape, they put it in the container, add the chemicals, and burn it. It then takes on the desired shape. Some of these chemicals can bend solid materials.
Having worked in the gold mining industry in Osun State for 3 years, Joshua Izibili offers an insider's perspective on the region's destructive mining practices.
From my practice, what I've observed is a lot of reaction when it comes to the water very close to the illegal miners, when they walk very close to the water, because most of them, they walk very close to the water because they need the water for their processing. After the extraction, they need the water because gold occurs in two different forms. It can be alluvia as an alluvial deposit or as an alluvial deposit. That means it can occur in rocks, as well occur maybe in water or stream. So that's just the different occurrence. So those that work with those ones that deposited or that occurs in water, those all work very close to the water, and they are processing, they need water too. So during the processing, most of the chemicals they use, ranging from cyanide and mercury that they use, those things contaminate the water. And even the way they handle the chemicals too, it has an effect on most of those, these miners, most especially the illegal miners, because they don't make use of the protective equipment. So after working for a few years, even one happened to me then, because I slumped twice in the pits. So those are some of the reactions that happen. Maybe because of the chemicals that are used, your body reacts to it because your body system counters it. What will happen? And it triggers a reaction that might affect someone else-wise. So I spent a few days in the hospital then. So those are the things that at times it's very good to know the state of your body system, because the more you are exposed to all these chemicals, when you are not using protective equipment, it will surely tell on the good health of the person. It will surely affect the person health-wise.
These unwholesome practices, did it cut across through the legal and illegal miners?
It mostly comes from the illegal miners. Those are the people that they don't even care about what happens at the long run. The most important thing is to get the deposit and leave the place. Putting the community into chaos, and also leaving the pits they've dug uncovered. Because there is a term we call reclamation. Whenever you practice your whatsoever you have to do, is starting from the development, that's mine cycle. After the whole thing, you've exploited the ground, you've gotten your good deposits, or you've exhausted the deposit that you have in that area. The best thing to do is to reclaim the land. You cover the land so that it will be useful for other purposes. It could be for agricultural purposes and so many other purposes aside mining, because you've exhausted the deposits you have in that area.
How damaging is mining along the Osun River? Professor Okunlola explains.
Now, what we're seeing now is a lot of siltation, pollution. There has been some heavy metal pollutions in terms of cadmium, in terms of arsenic, in terms of mercury, even in some of the drainage system. If you look at the Osun River drainage system, the color has changed because the amount of silt that are in the river system is so high. It has led to high turbidity. It has led to total dissolved solids is so high, and all that is higher than normal. So we have seen some level of pollution, and it should be controlled immediately. We gave some advice. We did a study, and the study, I think, is available for people to ask for, and it should be given. We took samples of the soil, samples of the drainage system, of the water, of the stream sediments, and did this study. And of course, we saw that it's higher than normal. So there has been elements of pollution. So it's not just speculation. It's something we have done scientifically because we did quite some analysis. So if this continues over the years, then of course the effect will soon begin to rear its head. Some strange diseases may begin to happen. And of course, I'm told that the health people are already seeing some of these things. And so it's important that this is ameliorated. Even though the study was not so elaborate, but at least it was a pilot, and it pointed out it was diagnostic, and shows that, look, if this thing is not done on a larger scale, we may be having some kind of looming health hazards and disaster in that area. In the Osun State part, I think everything is wrong with the type of mining that is going on there. We can call that mining. Such a huge potential, and I mean by every scientific standards. I mean, I've done a lot of explorations of many mineral resources. Is it gold? Is it pegmatites? Is it tantalite? Even is it this lithium, both within and outside Nigeria? And of course, if If one could define Osun as a gold province, then please take it to the bank as it is. But the current mining, if we can even say that, or excavation or recovery or extraction method in Osun State is nothing to write home about. It's appalling. Maybe we have only one out of about 50 success stories, so to say, about the mining practice in that. That's the Okunlola standard medium gold mine, which is being done, which is being run according to global standards, from exploration to exploitation to processing, and even to recording, and even to release of results of tonnage, of amount of materials mined, about sales and all that. I think it's only the Okunlola gold project around the Perindo that could say, okay, out of all the about 50 or so, the rest are just what I would call some kind of disorganized, dangerous, and quite environmentally unfriendly mining.
Osun State's illegal mining grew alarmingly that it escalated to the national level. In September 2021, lawmakers at the House of Representatives in Nigeria tackled the issue with a motion to stop the illegal activities. Eventually, in 2022, the governor of Osun State, Ademola Adeleke, suspended mining practices in the state. We go back to Professor Okunlola to tell us if the Osun mining ban has been effective in curbing environmental damage.
We all had the proclamation that illegal mining has been banned. Nobody is supposed to mine, but you go there now and confirm whether there is still mining or not. I mean, the intensity is even much more. And I'm told that even in all the leases that belong to the state government, licenses or leases that belong to the state government, I mean, there's some kind of tolling there, just pay some amount and then you will, So I don't know who is involved in that and who controls that, but the truth is that the situation has not changed. I think the state government, who should be, concerned about the citizens, about the health, and all those, not even just the state government, even the local governments, and every concerned community elites should, pull themselves together. And because we're all stakeholders in this, and see that proper amelioration of the land and proper mining is done. We need, if we're going to say, okay, we'll stop mining, let's back it up with truth. Let's back it up with the correct political will. Let it be monitored. And then it's not just about, okay, locking up the forest and all. You go there in the night and do all kinds of things. But has it changed? It has not changed. So there has to be another approach. There has to be a more professional approach. There has to be a more scientific approach to these things. Who are the owners of the licenses? Which ones belong to who? What level of study have they done? What kind of mining are they doing? No, this thing is not rocket science. We want to be honest with ourselves. These things are not taking place in the terrain that is outside the terrestrial. It's all something you see every day. And this can be controlled if the truth is there. So everybody has to face the reality that, look, we are losing a lot. This is money in front of you. This is resources in front of you. And people don't know that this resource has been there for more than 650 million years old. And during the Pan-African orogeny, the last phase of hydrothermalism that brought about this gold, that was about 500 million years ago. So it's been there. It doesn't get spoiled. And if these things have been there and you just want to waste it within the next 1 decade or 2 decades, that you just waste it away. And how do you waste it away? When you mine indiscriminately, nobody can go there and want to do proper mining again because it becomes so dangerous. You just fall into the pit and anything can happen. So we are wasting the resource. So if this can be done properly, everybody that is involved, state government, private individuals, and local community will be able to harness fully the potentials of this resource.
Years of bad mining practices in Osun have ravaged the land, causing problems like eroded soil, vanishing forest, and poisoned air and water. Another illegal miner who didn't want to be identified spoke to our reporter about his practices.
I was at Ipe around the Itagun area. I went to do some work there. There was some work done around the Ile-Ife axis.
The erosion brought about by mining activities there is already affecting houses there, year in, year out. 4 to 5 years from now, it will be obvious. When I got there, I could not in all good conscience dig the ground. The cocoa there was massive and all over. The cocoa trees were being cut and used for bridges by the miners. I was dazed and puzzled. I asked the person next to me, doesn't the owner of this farmland have offsprings or relatives? Why has he given his inheritance and land to illegal miners? The land was destroyed.
Despite the ban on mining practices by the government of Osun State, there remains a trail of degraded lands and polluted waters in the state. Izibili gives his perspective.
The issue of lead is mostly an associate of gold. It's just like they are like husband and wife in some parts. So when they occur, gold usually occur with lead. Lead is a deposit. But when we are talking about cyanide and mercury, these are reagents. Cyanide is a reagent that is used in getting, most especially we talk about low-grade ores and we have high-grade ores. High-grade ores are the ones that are very prominent. The gold that is very prominent in the ore. A ore is a mixture of your deposits, what you need, and some other unwanted components. What you don't want with what you want. It's just like a weed with weeds. That's how it is. So the ore, it comes together with the sand, dust, and whatsoever. So you need your gold as the deposits of wants when it comes to mining in that area. So what you need to do, you need those reagents to get your gold. So you need cyanide or mercury. So cyanide is used to get from the low-grade ore. You know, the high-grade has so many lumps of gold that you can just get without much stress. But those ones that are low-grade, that are just minute gold trapped in some sand or lumps. So you just have to get them out of the ore to get your valuable components. So you need to use the reagents in interacting with the gold and the ore so that you can get your component. That's why then when you mix the cyanide with it, well, it forms like a separation technique. So it separates the gold from the debris, that's the waste. So you have your gold. That's the reaction for cyanide. And the reaction for mercury is just like it forms something like a magma. So when it forms something like a magma, when you pour your mercury on the let's say maybe the sample you have on hand, when you pour your mercury on it, you see a reaction, a very fast reaction. After that reaction, it forms like a magma. It takes all the debris together, accumulates them, and does what? It now exposes it to air. That's where the problem is with mercury. As soon as it releases to air, what happens is it affects someone who doesn't use the protective equipment. It affects the land. It affects plants and animals in that area too. It surely affects them because it's mixed with the air. When it's mixed with air, so any living organism that is in that area is exposed to the damage.
We heard of the case in Zamfara in 2013 where about 300 children were killed, over 300 children, about the lead. And it was said that the miners would, after leaving, they would go home to their homes and, it got attached to their clothes. And so the children inhaled this. Is that one of the ways?
Yes, that's one of the ways because lead is a very poisonous metal. It's a metal and it's a very poisonous one. So that was what happened in Zamfara there. It's still the same case as these illegal miners because no one is regulating their operation. So when it comes to legal miners, the operation is regulated. You are registered. You are licensed. Even most of the time of several occasions, different bodies come around that are associated with mining. They come around to check your working operation. And most of these companies too, they have safety, which is one of the requirements. You need your safety apparatus. Aside from your safety apparatus, you must have a safety officer on ground. So your safety officer is in charge of whatsoever happens in that area, in your mine. So if you are doing the right thing, the safety officer will be asked. and he's going to direct the question to the authority, and the necessary sanction will be given to them. But illegal miners, they don't even, no one know their whereabouts. They come here maybe in the middle of the night, around 1 a.m. or 2 a.m., they mine, they leave. The next day they come in the middle of the night, they mine, they leave. So no one knows much about the operation unless it's someone that is carried along in the operation. And most of the people that know about the operation, the moment they get little money, they just keep short because they are getting something from me.
What are the negative effects of illegal mining and how can it be fixed? Okunlola weighs in.
It is fixable if we stop and do things the right way. A lot of damages have been done. Let us all pause. Let's now, the laws are there. Lawlessness can be stopped when people begin to be lawful. Now, there are good mining practices. Who are the owners of the licenses? All right. Of course, the owners of the licenses, it's okay, the federal government gives out licenses, but the people on the land give consents. Okay, we say, okay, we have contentions about those who give consents and all that. No problem. But the state government, through an agency of the law, the MIREMCO, Mineral Resources Environmental and Monitoring Committee, it is there in the law. All they need to do, okay, who are those who have these licenses? Community, can you please come? Stakeholders, local government, can you please, let's sit together. This man has a license. These people have a license. We must all get involved. And I've told many of those who claim to have licenses, if you don't carry the local people along, you're just wasting your time. Now sit down with them and say, okay, let's not do these things scientifically. Look, we already have a template in Ijesha land. No matter how much people want to, disagree or so, that's still a template that could be corrected. We have the Shegilola template. It's a basic template. I'm not doing advertisement. It's something everybody knows. I'm not a stakeholder or shareholder in this company. But this is what, if you're a scientist, you at least want to look at something that isn't working. Let's now modify that. Let's look at it. How are they doing it in such a way that they are not devastating the land? How is it that they are recovering so much? How is it that they have become internationally acceptable? How is it that people have seen it as a standard for small scale to medium scale mining? That is what we should replicate in all those 6 places. It's not a matter of saying, okay, why they know. You see, we can even modify, we can improve on it. And then we can now stop and say, let's do this. And somebody has to have a political will, both the federal government and the state government, and say, look, this is what we want. This is the standard we want. If you cannot go this standard, then please don't come in. Now, let's see how we can flush those people out. Let the local communities themselves stop compromising. Let the chiefs stop compromising. Let them also stop encouraging people who are devastating their land. And if they say, okay, they are not encouraging people who are devastating their land, how did they come in? Can they tell them to stop? So if these things are done, it is still possible. Then people can sit down and do proper exploration. Within the next 1 year, for these different licenses, do proper exploration. Experts will come. People want to bring in their money. Investors, I've seen so many investors who say, look, we think we can do, but when they get there and they see that the land is not available, when I mean available, I mean it's just not anything to write home about. People, or thousands of people are there on that land, spoiling the land, and say, okay, where do you want us to start? They go away. And by the time they go away, the investment that should come in goes away. So it can be stopped. And then it is doable that we can start again. And then we can turn that Ijesha Osun area into a mining El Dorado.
What are the consequences of not taking action now?
Everybody's, you have already talked about the climate change. Deforestation is going on at a huge stage. Economic crops are being destroyed every day. So that's the economy, the implication is there. Health, sometimes it can be irreversible when you start having different types of cancers that are caused by these heavy metals, cadmium pollution, mercury pollution, cyanide pollution, arsenic pollution. It can lead to devastating cases of some diseases, so many of them that I cannot be mentioning here, different kinds of cancer, blood leukemia, children having all kinds of reduced immunity and all that. We saw the Zamfara pollution case. Fortunately, the Elisha gold is not too much associated with the sulfides, with the terrible sulfides like you have maybe in much of sulfides, lead sulfide, zinc sulfide, arsenic, arsenopyrites and all that you have around Zamfara and all that. So maybe that's why we have not had that kind of disaster. But then, if it continues like this, we're going to have a lot of health issues. The rivers will not be drinkable. We're going to have loss of the marine species and the animals. In the rivers. We're going to have loss of fauna. We're going to have loss of deforestation. We're going to have deforestation, and we're going to have the effect of the climate change, even being very local. So it's important that we begin to do things right now, and before it gets too late.
So what will it take to fix the damaged areas? We're going back to Professor Olugbenga Okunlola to find out.
If mining stops today, this indiscriminate, shameful mining, type of mining stops today, look at it naturally in the next 3 months. Osun River will change color. It will get back to its original state. 6 months maximum. Why? Because the silt that had been pumped into the river will settle down. The level of heavy metals, because it's a heavy metal itself will have gone down. So in 6 months, you don't even need to start pumping anything. Just stop the indiscriminate mining. Stop pumping this dirty water, dirty effluents into the river. Stop it, and you will see the next 6 months, about 2 cycles of rain, how the whole thing will take charge of itself. Look, I keep talking about the proper mining that is going on around the Perido. You don't see the rivers there being polluted, do you? So it's not a matter of how much will it cost. Let us first of all stop. Let us evaluate each of the so-called mining fields or mining areas, and now come and do proper evaluation. How can we now redo the exploration? Do we now need to level up the place, or let's just leave it as it is, take our samples, know actually the amount of materials we're dealing with in terms of the resource and reserves, and then do proper mine designs for each one. There will still be mining in Elisha. So the amelioration is not like a close-up effort. That's okay, stop, and then we close up. No, there will still be mining. But what we're saying is, once we stop, first of all, reappraise, and we do proper mining, things will come back to shape. So it's not that it is still irretrievable. No. The first thing that needs to be done is to say, look, let's be honest with ourselves. This is not the way we're going about it. Stop, everybody. Let's now bring in serious people. They may be local, they may be international, they may even be the investors even around that area, but this is the template that we want. And the template is, let's see what your geology is. Let's see the structural work you have done. Let's see your mine design. Let's see your environmental impact assessment. Let's see the way you want to even do your reclamation. Let's see the way you want to contain your pollution. Let's see the way you want to do your processing. Let's see your design. Anybody that does not have this and is not ready to do this has no business in that place. Once that is put in place, things will be restored. Nature itself heals itself. So once you stop disturbing it, then it returns back, unless it has been so much hot. So it's the same thing in the mining fields. But as it is now, if this continues like this in Osun area, then definitely it will get to a point where it might be already too late.
That's all from us at Science Explained today. If you want to find out more, head to the SciDevNet website. That's www.scidev.net. Today's show was produced by Alice Hurst, with editing by Ogechi Kianyao and Titilope Fadari. Hosting by me, Ogechi Kianyao. Today's reporter was Babatunde Okunlola. And until next time, it's goodbye. African Science Focus is produced by SciDevNet and distributed in association with your local radio station.